Hello, this is RV Vagabond Jerry, and this video is going to be a summary of my spring and fall 2021 adventure, which I call my free RV hookup tour. I found a website that lists RV parks and campgrounds throughout the United States that have hookups, especially electric hookups, and they're all free. So that gave me this idea of how to spend my spring and summer this year, going around and scouting out these locations that have the free RV hookups. I started in El Paso on March 8th, and when I was there, I did a video introducing this tour to tell you exactly what I'm going to be doing, and I also showed you in that video how I find these free RV hookup places, and I'm going to put a link to that video in the description below this video. So if you want information about how to find these places other than watching my videos, then you can do that as well. Just watch that video. It explains exactly how I find these places. And I went to 45 different RV parks and campgrounds that have the free hookups. 45 of them. And next I'm going to show you a map so you can see exactly where I have gone and found them. So I have these 45 locations marked on this map. The green one is El Paso, but my first location was in Jao, New Mexico. Let me zoom in a bit. There's another one just inside the border in New Mexico, but as you can see, there's quite a few locations in northwest Texas and up into the Panhandle. And nearly all of these are in city parks. There's 3 locations here in Oklahoma, but they are all in casinos. And then I went up into central Kansas, some more city park locations, and then into western Nebraska, and 1 in Wyoming, and then 2 in western Montana. Now there was supposed to be 3 more locations along here of free RV parks. I went to them, but they're not free anymore, so I didn't do videos there. Then I went across North Dakota. There's 3 of them. Then came down the east side of South Dakota, where there's a few locations. Then I went over here to Forest City, Iowa, mainly for the Winnebago rally. Then came back into the eastern side of Nebraska, a few more locations here. Then another one in Kansas, 1 in Missouri, and another one in southeast Kansas. And then there's 3 of them around Joplin, Missouri. And then here's where I ended up, right here, almost to the Arkansas border. So that's location number 45. There's a few locations I didn't go to. There's more locations in Nebraska, which I went to about a year ago, so I didn't want to go back to those. I had already made videos there. So this is not all of them. However, the large majority of the free RV park locations are in the central states, from Texas to North Dakota for the most part. Now let me tell you some of my favorite things about staying in these locations. Number 1, they're free. That's the number 1 big attraction. Now, if I had been staying in your average RV park, paying $30, $40, $50 a day, let's say an average of $40 a day, and I stayed in 133 nights at these 45 locations, 133 nights times $40 a day, that would be about $5,300 that I would have spent just in RV space rent. But I spent $0 for RV space rent. However, in every one of these cities, I did go out and eat in restaurants, and I also did some touring around. Some places I paid admission fees to museums and other things to see that I did videos of also. So I spent money in every town where I stayed in one of their free RV parks. My second reason I like these places is because the quick setup. I would pull in, go out and hook up my electric cord, come inside, turn on my TV, and I'm done. That is it. In regular RV parks, there's a big rigmarole you have to go through before you can even get to your space. Signing up, paying up, all sorts of information you have to give them, and then they lead you through the park, and man, it can take 10, 15, 20 minutes before you finally get settled. But in these free places, you do not have to check in first. In fact, there's nobody there to check in with. Now, a few places do want you to check in, which amounts to filling out a few questions on a piece of paper and then putting it in a drop box. There's nobody to talk to. I think they just want to get an idea of how often that their facilities are being used, because there's no one there to monitor it. So it's all self-check-in, and it's done at my leisure after I'm all hooked up and already enjoying the day for maybe hours before I would go out and take care of the check-in. But that's only in a few places where you're even required to do any sort of checking in. Now, nearly always the casinos will want you to come in and check in, but again, that's after you're all set up. I might arrive at a casino at 10 o'clock in the morning, and I wouldn't go inside to check in until noon or 1 o'clock when I'm ready to go in and have lunch anyway. Now, one thing you might be wondering, if all these places are free, aren't they all going to be full? Do you have to call for reservations? For one thing, there's no such thing as a reservation. None of them take reservations. And as far as a problem of them being full, no, it never happened to me. A lot of these places will only have 3 to 6 RV spots, but let me tell you, never once did I find one that was completely full and I couldn't get in. I never failed to find a spot for me in all these 45 locations. And another nice thing is that nearly all of them are in city parks, so often there is a swimming pool, which I did use on several occasions. And most of them will have a disc golf course, which is something else I like to play. They have covered picnic tables. You want to go outside and be in the shade for a while. And being in a city park, they're all in really beautiful locations. Most city parks are just as green as they can be, with a nice lawn, a lot of trees. They're not free because they're in dumpy locations. They're in very nice city parks, but there's only certain towns that have them. That's why you can't just pull in any little town city park and expect there to be any RV camping. In fact, most city parks will have a sign saying no overnight camping. But then there's just these certain ones that not only have the facilities, they invite you to come in and let you use them for free. So all in all, I have enjoyed my spring and summer 2021 so much. I saved over $5,000 in space rental fees and had a good time. It has turned out to be a very nice way to spend my summer, especially when I gotta have my air conditioning. So if you look back in my channel between March and September 2021, you will find videos that I made in all 45 locations, And the video is not just about the RV parks. In each town, when there was museums or something else particular to see, some kind of tourist attraction in that city, I went and videoed those things too, trying to make my videos more interesting for everyone. So I hope you've enjoyed them. Please comment below. Let me know how you have enjoyed this series. Let me know how many videos you've seen of this series and how you might be using some of these locations yourself in the future. I hope you've enjoyed this series. You haven't enjoyed them as much as I have, but I hope you've enjoyed it very much, and I appreciate you watching my videos. Now, in case you're wondering, where is RV Vagabond Jerry going next? Well, let me show you on the map where I'm going to be going during October, November, December, January, and February of 2021-2022. First, I'm going back to my home base, just east of San Antonio, Texas. Spent a couple weeks there with my family. And then I'm planning on going to the Oktoberfest in Fredericksburg here. And then I'm going down to South Padre Island to spend some time on the beach. A late summer, early fall beach time I want to get. And then following up the coast to Port Aransas. And then from there, I'm going to Magnolia Beach, one of my favorite hangouts. And then once I've done with my beach time here, I'm going up to a special event here in Spring, Texas. I'll tell you about that when that happens. And then I'm going up to East Texas to spend some time along the lakes here in East Texas, and then going down to Grand Isle, Louisiana, and then into New Orleans. And I'm going to spend 2 full months in New Orleans. And that will be the longest time I've ever spent in one place at one time. And I'm doing that because January and February, I think, is a good time to be in New Orleans. The whole month of February is Mardi Gras. Events going on all throughout February. So I'm going to be going to Mardi Gras events all the time in February. Now in January, 1st of January, I'm going on a cruise. So from New Orleans, I'm going to fly to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, pick up a cruise ship there, which is going to go down to some islands here just off of South America, and then a few islands on the way back to Fort Lauderdale, and then fly back to New Orleans. And I'll be coming back about 2 weeks before Mardi Gras starts. So that will take me through February, and then I got to decide where I'm going to go for spring and summer of 2022. There are 2 trips that I have in mind for next summer that I got to decide on, but for next spring, March, April, May, I don't know. I don't know where to go for next spring. So if you have some ideas where would be a good place to go, starting out from New Orleans, then please let me know in the comments below. Hope you've enjoyed this video and my trip this summer. Good day, folks.